if he will think that there is a possibility of gaining the Angasangam of Krishna in the Madhurya Ras, then he will not, he may not culture the proper Seva Bhavana, which is the unalloyed service attitude, which is free from the self-interest. For as Kubja had the heavy admixture of personal desires for self-satisfactions in her approach to Krishna, which did not allow her the opportunity to actually associate with Brajanananda and Krishna in the land of Braja. Rather, she got Vasudev Krishna, who facilitated her desires. Yeah. Because there was a strong admixture of desires for personal enjoyment in the relationship with Krishna. It was pure devotion because it was purely focused on the absolute truth, Sri Krishna himself, without any, let's say, diversion, to any other man, any attachment for any other man. She was only attached to Krishna, therefore she's considered to be having a form of Krishna prema called as kama praya. But it's almost like mundane lust. And because of that, because it is so much heavily mixed with the desires for personal satisfaction, then there's no place for her in the spiritual world. She's grounded to this material world.
She always
because she
in Mathura.
In Mathura, and she enjoys with Krishna. She and her followers, her girlfriends, who are having similar mood, and those who will cultivate that kind of mood will go to become her follower, her girlfriend, and they will only be able to have Krishna's association in the Bhauma Lilas of Krishna.
They go into different plans to take it.
But they will not, according to the opinion of some acharyas at least, and Prabhupada also appears to confirm this point by his purporting Kubja's request and Krishna's reply, and that please stay with me, don't leave, please stay with me, and Krishna politely informs her that it will not be possible. So Prabhupada purports that by saying that because the material world is vyakta and avyakta, manifest and unmanifest, therefore only in the spiritual world can he remain. But because Kubja is the personification of the Purusha Shakti of Krishna, which is only active within this material world to create the false Purusha Abhiman of the conditioned souls. Just like the Mahamaya Shakti is not manifest in the spiritual world, it is only seen in the material world. So similarly, this Purusha Shakti is only manifest in this material world. So the actions of the Purusha Shakti and the influence of that Purusha Shakti, which makes someone think in terms of Kama Praya Bhakti, you see, that it will only be, let's say, seen in this material world.
If I become follower of Bhakti Vinod Thakur and like our line, the old Banjaris, yeah. But how possible to cultivate this mood, because it's too difficult to see. The Prabhupada take from me wine, girls, everything.
What's that?
I mean, Prabhupada take from me everything.
Yes.
My girlfriends, all these things, wine, cigarette, all these things for enjoying, all facility. But I have now only my beads, and how to say, if I follow of our line, I should not think to enjoy with Krishna. Yeah?
That's right.
How to possible to become real like like, you know, because I think not so many people become manjari. That's why I don't think so, because it's too difficult.
No, the point is that
How possible to cultivate these things? If I, you know, like,
you have to see, the problem is that you have to hear sufficiently about the topics which will make within your heart the growth of attachment to Krishna, attachment to the devotees of Krishna. Otherwise it is impossible. Whatever will help you to appreciate the selfless serving attitude of a Braja Gopi,
yeah.
that we have to hear about first before we can augment our appreciation. So the first principle is Shravana Dasha. Without Shravana Dasha, there's no question of Varna Dasha, Apana Dasha, Smarana Dasha, you know, which has the 5.
What does means dasha?
Stage.
Ah.
Means stage of development.
Yeah.
So the first thing is Shravana Dasha. By Shravana Dasha, the interest and enthusiasm, the greed, lobha, because without lobha there's no question of Raganuga Bhakti.
Yeah.
So we have to hear those things which increase our appreciation. Because lobha can only come when there's appreciation. If we are having the yellowed, jaundiced eye of avidya, without sufficient illumination of knowledge of, let's say, reality versus illusion. In other words, if we're still grounded by a bodily conception of life, then we can never actually develop the basis for having an appreciation. The bodily conception of life, let's say, impedes our entrance into the let's see, other bodily conception of life. Just like there's a worldly experience and an otherworldly experience, means another dimension of reality. If I'm still thinking in terms of this body as being my identity, that I am a male, etc., then it will not help me to think in terms of being female.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the bodily conception of life has to be omitted.
It's not artificial thing, or it's possible to do now.
Yes, you do immediately.
Yeah, because I'm doing sometimes.
Yes, it's a question of your determination, your desire,
When I do these things, one devotee told me that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if you think about yourself in like Gopi or some manjari, and then but you not attain this level, like, you know, I mean some high position.
High position means nishtha.
And then you have to take birth in material world like woman.
Yeah,
then I tell him how to possible, because if I always think about myself like spiritual woman, not
yes, yes.
He says, so
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. No, he is misunderstood.
He's misunderstood. Yeah.
Means that if someone is not sufficiently freed from the jaundice of avidya, which is the cause of one's anarthas. In other words, at the stage of anarthana vritti, when one's attachment to the bodily conception of life is relatively slackened, then he may eagerly and earnestly pursue the path of Rag Bhajan by augmenting his, let's say, spiritual identity based on an appreciation of the pure devotional ideal. If we're still hung up in the bodily conception of life and still thinking in terms of I and mine, which is basically the false egoistical, egocentric, self-centered, selfish attitude, without, let's say, properly understanding, seeing the truth of the pure spiritual ideal of selfless, self-giving, pleasure-giving mood.
Yeah.
You see, then if we will think gopis and think I am gopis, and thinking what is gopi? That gopi is an enjoyer, like a woman of this material world is the exploiter of her husband, because the woman in the material world controls her husband by lust. The gopis, who are spiritual Sri Rupam, they control Krishna by their prema. So to understand the distinction between prema and kama, Krishnendriya priti ishchadari premanam atmendriya priti vanchitari balikam. Kama is the desire to satisfy one's own senses, and prema is the desire to satisfy Krishna's senses. So if we will understand that the form of the woman, the original Adi Sri Rup, in giving Adi Ras for the pleasure of Krishna, is augmenting the principles of prema, Krishnendriya priti ishta, not Atmendriya priti vancha. See, so from the stage of nishta, after the anarthana vritti has completed, not all completely completed. In this, what is it? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. No, Shushusho Shadadanasya. No, excuse me. What is it? Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravagna Kirtana Hridyantak Sto Hyavadrani Virinoti Suritsitam. This shloka, it mentions that Krishna destroys, cleanses the heart. And in the other shloka, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki, means that when all the Hyavadrani, when all these things will be almost destroyed, almost to nil, not completely, then Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki, one becomes fixed up in Nishta Bhajan. Naishtaki means Nishta. He attains Nishta and is doing Nishtata Bhajan Kriya. Means without wavering, unfaltering bhajan. So it means that there are grosser anarthas and subtle anarthas. When it says almost to nil, it means that the gross anarthas have been omitted or eliminated, but there may still be some subtle anarthas which have to be worked on. And by doing this sadhan bhakti, from the Madhyam platform, Madhyamadikari platform, that gradually, as you're pursuing the principles of prema, putting the milk into the cup, the ink is being, whatever remaining ink is there, is being driven out by the bhajan itself. So therefore, because what is the bhajan? If we cannot understand the nature of pure devotion, then how are we going to practice it? If we cannot have the theory, the ideal, fixed up in our mind, if we cannot have the goal in our mind, then how we will attain the goal? So there must be ability to perceive the reality from the stage of nishta, not from the stage of ultimate perfection. In the ultimate perfection, we will perceive the reality directly and by experience and all these things. But without being able to see by knowledge, gyan, sambandha tattva gyan. It does not mean sambandha tattva vigyan. It means sambandha tattva gyan. There's theoretical understanding of the truth of the relationship with Krishna and the process, this avideya tattva. When there's not sufficient scientific understanding of sambandha tattva gyan and avideya tattva, then if one will think of gopis, think of himself as being gopi, but without having the proper understanding of prayojan tattva, avideya tattva, and this sambandha tattva, then he cannot scientifically approach the practices of rag bhajan. He will think wrongly about the let's say motivations behind the gopis' actions, and he will adopt the mood of what is akin to his own status as materialistic, because he has not progressed sufficiently in the pure devotional practices by following the pure devotional ideal. He has not become fixed up on that platform. He's still maintaining material attachments. He's still an operati. He's still it can be said that he's grounded by the false bodily conception of life. So he may be thinking that gopis are the iron-like lusty woman of this world. So if he is not understanding the nature of gold, and understanding the nature of the, you can say, the green mango practices which turn into the ripened golden fruit of prema, you see, then he will make, let's see, wrong, he will embrace wrong conceptions, and on the basis of, in other words, he will not be able to complete his practices in a matter of perfecting his conceptualized bhavadeha, and because on the basis of the bhavadeha, he will get gopi deha. He will get the siddha deha.
But you know this Ananta Pandit, he says one thing. He says the Manjaris, they always worship to Radharani, and they not so much care about Krishna.
This is wrong thinking.
This is wrong thinking. Like, you know,
love me, love my dog.
No, they like Krishna, but I have to say, he says the first point for Manjaris is Radharani.
That's another thing, but to say that they don't love Krishna is foolishness.
No, they love Krishna. No, maybe I explained.
The principle is this.
No, she says they love Krishna, but you know, Ishtadev is Radharani.
Their allegiance is to the consideration of Radha's pleasure.
Yeah.
There are 5 types of Sakhis. Parama Preshta Sakhi, Priya Sakhi, General Sakhi or Sakhi, Pran Sakhi, and the Nitya Sakhi. Among many Nitya Sakhis, one may become as Pran Sakhi. Pran Sakhi is a Nitya Sakhi, but who is very, very dear, who has become like life and soul,
Promise, yeah.
yes, of Radha. because they are life and soul of Radha, they are called as Pran Sakhi. But they are Nitya Sakhi, to be real. There's no difference between Nitya Sakhi and Pran Sakhi in terms of their let's say, attitude. The Parampreshta Sakhi, they are Radha Krishna Samasne Adhika Sakhis. Are you understanding this? These words? Radha Krishna Sama. Sama means equal.
Equal.
Sneha. Sneha means affection. So Sama Sneha Adhika means that they have equal affection to Radha and Krishna. Sometimes in an argument between Radha and Krishna, they may take the side of Radha, sometimes they take the side of Krishna, like this. The Priya Sakhis and the Parampreshta Sakhis are generally, Parampreshta Sakhis are certainly Radha Krishna Sama Snehadika. Priya Sakhis are mostly Radha Krishna Sama Snehadika. The general Sakhis are Krishna Asama, means not equal. They are unequally disposed toward Krishna. Krishna Samasne Adhika Sakhis, and the Nitya Sakhis and Pran Sakhis are Radhika Asamasne Adhika. So this is a long subject matter. We should do it. My voice is giving out.
Yeah.
If you want, we can discuss more some other time. But it is important discussion.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's a very important discussion if you want to understand it.
Because you see, I have desire to know these things, but I have also so many, I have to read so many books, but the difference, Yeah,
but
I'm saying Anantadas Babaji.
Prabhu,
it's not.
Anantadas Pandit is not following the ideal of Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
He's not following the ideal.
Although he admits that he was originally introduced to the Gaudiya Sampradaya through Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book. But he does not accept all these
Instructions.
The points of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he has a different mood. I can prove to you what is the distinction between the mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta, and our Srila Prabhupada, how it differs from Anantadas, and why Prabhupada has instructed us not to go to Anantadas.
So
those who will not be understanding that they should not go to Anantadas Pandit will never get Prabhupada's path by going to Anantadas Pandit.
yeah, I didn't saw him in my life, but I have a few books now.
Yes, but
Can I maybe I read only verses and not read the notes.
because these verses, they were translated by Advaita Das.
It's okay.
Sometimes I do, but other books are coming out.
You see, I have no other books. And our nectar books, so expensive for Muslim brahmacharis. It's too much expensive for me, It's $1,000 need to buy all these books. But I know I wanna read all these books. Yeah, I wanna read something because I don't want to fly on the sky.
You see, there are two camps. There's been, for hundreds of years, there's been an argument.
Two camps in Vrindavan.
There are basically, let's say, as far as Manjari Tattva is concerned, there are two ideas.
First idea is Bhaktivinoda.
We follow Bhaktivinoda standard.
The second one is Anantadas.
Anantadas.
And Narayan Maharaj is more his side.
Anantadas?
Yeah, Narayan Maharaj.
Sometimes I hear that he preaches like this, but
I heard once Keshava Maharaj is always come to Radhakund, where Narayan Maharaj was at the time mostly, and he took him from Radhakund, but he coming back and stay again, and Keshava Maharaj coming back again and preaching to him to don't stay in Radhakund, don't associate with Babaji's or my guest. I heard
Yes, that's
from
that-
what is it? Wangshi or Raman Maharaj?
so that
Maybe some affection. I don't know.
there is some reason.
It's not my, because they all, high class devotees.
First of all,
I don't want to go there.
it is not. We don't want to commit offense.
Yeah, community.
But
Which is the-
we should be careful about Narayan.
Yeah, Maharaj also tell me to read his books, but don't be
Which
afraid.
Maharaj?
My Guru Maharaj.
Who is that? Gopal?
No,
Oh, who?
Bhakti Guru.
Govinda Maharaj.
Yeah, I request him to read once, and he says, don't read, read Acharya's book, read Vishwanath Chakravarti, but please don't read his book.
But I've had some personal conversations with Narayan Maharaj.
You have?
Yeah, and although many times he tries to. I've seen him, heard him adapt some ideas from Anantadas Pandit. Govinda Maharaj also started reading Anantadas Pandit's things because he called one of his disciples, told me that he personally purchased all of Anantadas Pandit's books to bring to Govinda Maharaj. So the thing is, and from that time, Govinda Maharaj also had some change in his preaching. But
he's a pure devotee, yeah?
well,
Govinda
of
Maharaj.
course he's a pure devotee. But there's different caliber, different kinds of pure devotees, etc.
So you see, Anantadas Babaji, he has, so many stuff, so many books, Well, you're saying be careful. But where from we take idea? From Bhaktivinoda?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This even from Srila Prabhupada's books you can get everything.
But,
If you have the eyes,
but Manjari Bhav?
yes,
But
you will not.
Eyes, I'm
You have to have the eyes first. First get the eyes, then look and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
If you don't have the eyes, then you have to clean your heart more.
Можно я спрошу? Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
But Elon, я извиняюсь, пожалуйста. Закрой дверь. Я извиняюсь.
Why do you do it? Chasing him away.
No. One second. А где я могу прийти? Personal. Потом позови? Да. Закроешь? Да. You remember when I come to you and we talk with you all night about when I want to go to Narayan Maharaj to take some lectures that have for now when I have bone and brains, You remember me there you explaining about, and then, like you helped me that time, and then one thing happened, like, maybe 1 month, I still have little, brain pressure, like, thinking always about our gurus, like, because I'm reading other thinking, Prabhupada's book, and I'm seeing other thinking life at the time, and once, in my dream, I heard, like, some dreams is not so lightly, and I just forget it.
Yeah.
But this is, very, realistic.
Yeah.
And 2 young girls, they told me, don't worry, Gopinath, you do it what you're doing, chant more, and stay with your guru. We are showing to you who is your guru is in spiritual world. Don't worry, but don't do useless. And it disappeared, Then it's night time and I wake up, I don't know, it's like very shiny, like it's my creation of my mind, or
No.
it's but this you saw the Jadurani's Rati Manjari, and it looks like that, like satin years maybe, and backside, all like like trees, peacocks like flying, like very, some garden, and all day I was, chanting, like, I don't know, I never chant like that, and they told me, don't leave, you stay, do what you do, chant more.
Yes,
and
this is the key.
And then we showed, then we told you who is your guru in spiritual. Don't worry about your guru, because so much, Puri Maharaj side disciples, they says, if you don't have mantra from proper bona fide guru, your bhajan is useless, and then these things kill me, and I'm thinking, wow, if my guru not,
How do you know whether he is or isn't?
yeah, but
See, that's another point.
yeah, but then,
But one thing is for sure, is that everyone in this movement has heard Premanam from Srila Prabhupada's recorded kirtan cassettes.
yeah.
If my mantra diksha, which was received via media cassette, can be considered as a bona fide mantra diksha, which Prabhupada said that it was, otherwise he wouldn't have authorized such things, then certainly the broadcasting of Hare Krishna Kirtan by the Srila Prabhupada's cassettes, that it is a transmission of Shabda Brahman.
Yeah.
If it's not transmission of Shabda Brahman, what's his name? Is he still standing out there?
Srivaspriya?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he can come back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
You may come back in.
But this is not
My question too?
But this is not creation of mind.
I don't know.
Huh?
This is
No.
what was not creation
No.
of mind. Because
No.
once
Because the instruction is proper. The instruction is to take shelter in the holy name.
this is
So you've received, even though you may have received your diksha, or you may have received your nam initiation, the formal initiation you may have received from anyone in the movement. But everyone has had opportunity, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, to hear
this good.
the transcendental vibration of pure Premanam. And if you have heard that, and you've allowed it to penetrate your heart, and if you understand from the Goswami's literatures, coming in our Bhagavad Sampradaya, the science of Shuddha Bhakti Bhajan, then you will be able to augment Shuddha Nam and get Prema.
It's a long story.
So by chanting, so taking shelter of Nam, there is science how to chant Shuddha Nam. You don't go, you cannot, it will be a very long time to chant, to come to the position of chanting Shuddha Nam. If you will be chanting with the motivation for material sense gratification, or if you will be chanting with the motivation of self-purification, then you can go on trying to purify yourself for millions of lifetimes, and you may get mukti out of the affair. But even if you were to purify yourself for millions of lifetimes, purifying of all your sinful reactions and material contamination and all these things, this is negative affair.
The desire, some desire.
Not desire will always be there. The soul cannot live without desire.
You mean mood? I mean, if some desire to, if I chant it, is not should enough. If some desire is there.
No, there must be desire.
No, I mean material.
Yeah, it may not be material. Desire for mukti is not exactly material, but it is an offense against the holy name.
But if I request to Radha and Krishna to purify me, it's also not some like motivation.
Try to understand. Yes, it is.
It is a motivation.
It is not. We have to understand. Well, first of all, what is purification? But before we enter into the discussion, what is purification? We should see that what is. We should understand what is the proper motivation. If I will attach myself to the tatastha lakshana of Shuddha Bhakti, then I will get what is, let's say, associated with the tatastha lakshana.
Its qualities. Tatastha Lakshana.
Lakshana means the qualities or the sign,
Sign.
the what is it? Characteristic.
Characteristic.
Lakshana means characteristic.
Yeah.
Marginal. Tatastha means marginal. Like tatastha shakti means marginal potency. So marginal characteristic. But marginal characteristic is not the sarup. There's the sarup lakshana and the tatastha lakshana of Shuddha Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti. The sarup lakshana is anyavilasita, is anukulena krishnanushilanam. And the tatastha lakshana is anyavilasita shunyam jnana karma dinabritam. If you will attach yourself, focus on the tatastha lakshana without due consideration of the sarup lakshana, then you may get the characteristic nature of the tatastha lakshana as the result. Anyavilasita shunyam. You understand? Anyavilasita shunyam means to make ulterior motives zero. But it doesn't directly indicate the sarup. It indicates what the sarup isn't, but it doesn't indicate what the sarup is. Can you understand?
Yeah.
So by attaching oneself to the tatastha lakshana of Shuddha Bhakti, one may become free from his, he may discard ulterior motives, but because he hasn't sufficiently cultivated, attached himself, augmented, increased the sarup of pure devotion. He hasn't increased or focused, understood, practiced, realized the ideal of pure devotion, then he cannot attain the perfection in the pure devotion. So, as long as one, this is the same principle, that you can empty the ink out, but emptying the ink out doesn't mean that you have pure devotion. You have to put the milk in. If you're in an inky atmosphere and you empty the ink out, then because you're in the inky atmosphere, there's every chance that ink will go back in. But even you're in the inky atmosphere, if you pour milk into the cup, the milk, because of its higher density, its greater sweetness, etc., it will drive out the ink. Raso varjam, rasopyasya, param drispadan vartante. You understand? So, the sarup lakshana of Shuddha Bhakti is the milk, and the tatastha lakshana will be the omission of the ink.
So you mean so many anarthas and always working on
Simply, yes, by
but no rasa.
yeah. You can go for millions and millions of lifetimes trying to purify yourself
Yeah.
by your chanting,
Yeah.
praying to Krishna, please, free me of the material contaminations.
From this anartha, from this anartha.
Yeah, from this anartha, from that anartha, like this. You know, that where do I stand in the modes of material nature? Am I in passion, goodness, or ignorance? To hell with that. The soul is not neither in passion, goodness, or ignorance anyway. The soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. And as an eternal servant of Krishna, it's our only one duty is to augment Krishna prema. Prema pamartha mahan. And how to augment Krishna prema is by following this one principle. Anukulena Krishnanushilanam. By doing Anukulena Krishnanushilanam, by making that your primary focus, then naturally, because there will be the intention to please Krishna, one will not want to do anything which displeases him.
So
Naturally.
So another request on the service, to give some service to the.
Could you flick the switch over there? There's that little pink machine there.
I see it.
Flick the switch that's on the right hand side of the machine. Okay.
What is it?
It's a mosquito
Oh.
machine. Because I just saw a mosquito
Yeah.
coming and giving me trouble. It means I should have turned it on earlier this evening. You see, so in reality, it is essential, of course. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it mentions that while watering the bhakti lata, one should also systematically uproot the weeds of the anarthas. But what this means to say is that because you have the focus, you have your intention to nicely cultivate your bhakti lata, therefore you don't want anything to impede the progress. You don't want to be grounded. You want to pull the anchor out. Rowing your boat, but you forgot to pull the anchor out, you nonsense. So you have to pull the anchor out, but you don't pull the anchor out because you want to pull the anchor out. You pull the anchor out because you want to make the progress to the goal. Understand? So the primary principle is to make the progress to the goal. The secondary principle is to pull the anchor out so that you can do that. You see? So in this way, pour the milk in. Our process is a positive alternative. By getting the higher taste, automatically you give up the lower taste. You see? Automatically you discard. You must discard. Discarding system will be there. The process will be there to discard. But why will you discard? Because you're getting the higher taste. It's not that you discard and discard and discard and discard and don't associate with yourself. You don't associate yourself with the substance which gives you the higher taste.
It's like my way.
Yes, it is impersonalism. To neti. By this is called nivriti marg. But nivriti marg is not our prayojan. It's not the actual goal. Nor is nivriti marg our siddhanta. Nor is nivriti marg, ultimately nivriti marg cannot be accepted as our avideya. But pumartha pravritti is our proper process. Anartha nivriti. But just as Prabhupada has made at one point in one purport, he says, negation of the category does not necessitate negation of the substance. Essential. Negation of the non-essential does not. What does he say?
Exactly that.
Does not necessitate, or
negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essentials.
in other words, we have to, our process is to augment this pumarta pravritti. The pravritti marg and navritti marg, in the sense that Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains it in Jaiva Dharma, is a little different from the way that Sridhar Swami explains it in his commentaries. Prabhupada, in several places in his books, describes Nivritti Marg and Pravritti Marg. Pravritti meaning dovetailing material desires for gradual purification and elevation. And Nivritti Marg means to eliminate the material desires. So Prabhupada sometimes says that our process is the process of Nivritti. Nivritti means that at least see, but with lust and without lust does not constitute Shuddha Bhakti. So when we say that our let's say our path is Nivritti Marg, it means that that we are not interested in dovetailing our material desires, but we want to finish with the material desires. But to say that Nivritti, finishing the material desires, is the let's say Sarup, would be a mistake. The finishing the material desires is the side effect. Tatashta Lakshana is another way of saying side effect. The marginal characteristic or the side effect of application of the Sarup. So the Nivritti or Anartha Nivritti means to negate the anarthas. But then there's Artha or Pumartha, Prema Pumartha Mahan, Pumartha Pravritti. Pravritti means to positively engage in those activities which augment the realization of the perfection of the principle on which prema is based, that is to please Krishna. That means anukulinish Krishnanushilanam. Yes. Anyavilasati shunyam, is effected by anukulina Krishnanushilanam. By being concerned about Krishna's pleasure. If I'm concerned about Krishna's pleasure, then I don't want to do something which is against Krishna's pleasure, because I'm concerned about Krishna's pleasure. You see? So, by chanting with desires, or by material desires, or by chanting to become free from material desires, or without material desires. If you chant with desires for bhukti and mukti, then only you can get bhukti. If you chant without desires for bhukti or mukti, but you chant simply for the purpose of purifying yourself from material contamination, because you're chanting with the purpose, intention of purifying yourself from material contamination, you can get mukti. Because by that kind of chanting, abhasnam reciprocates by purifying you of material contamination, which makes you eligible for mukti. But this kind of nivriti, this, let's say, you can call it as perverted pravriti and nivriti. It cannot give you prema. It will not help you to augment the realization of the perfection of the principle of prema. Which is Krishnendriya Priti Ishta. To have the desire, Ishta means desire. To have the desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna is prema.
And how to possible to proper cry when we chanting mantra, because some people crying for mukti, like you said.
Yes, some people's crying for the house, crying color TV. Someone's crying for mukti. Someone's crying for their sense gratification in relationship to Krishna.
Yeah, take from Mahamantra. But one, I'm reading some papers also. But now Mahimamrita in Prabhupada this house, what he says, you go in cottage and you do your all these things you do in your meditation. You give some massage for divine couple, like these things, And this meaning we do these things without chanting, or like when chanting mantra, like to service for Radha and Krishna.
The first thing is to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry for mercy. And by mercy, you will realize by revelation the Sarup of Nam, the guna of Krishna Nam, and Leela, and Dham.
So this means for liberated souls. He's saying these things for liberated souls.
First, we should cry for mercy, understanding that we are fallen, petite, dainya, dina, hina. Dina means very low and unworthy. Hina means totally unqualified. Just like there's this krama shuddha shravana and krama hina shravana. Hina shravana means unqualified hearing. And Shuddha Shravana means pure hearing, which means there must be some qualification.
Once you told me you did three things. You cry for Krishna, and hear your mantra, and you meditate on the form. I remember this thing. Or on the form rather than Krishna.
And beg them, understanding that Nam and them aren't identical. But surrendering yourself, surrendering your heart to the deity. If you can chant in front of your deity, or in front of a picture of Ganesha, surrender your heart to them, begging them to please, mercifully, bestow upon you the adhikar. And especially in front of Tulsi Devi, by chanting in front of Tulsi Devi, the result is very quick. Every morning we're saying Seva Adhikara Diye Kara Nijadasi. So Tulsi Maharani can help you to get the Seva Adhikar. Seva means for pleasure.
Picture is not saying.
Huh?
I have written the Devi picture. It's not saying.
That's okay, yes.
That's okay. I have to know. I haven't told.
But if you have Tulsi, it's very good. Because she's person and directly present.
But if I paint in my mind Radha and Krishna like form, and it's not good, what do you think? You're saying
It's good.
Because I will try to paint, and I will try to remember some leelas, like which one I heard, and mostly I'm artist, and I'm doing mostly also paintings,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about if I'm doing Makanchor or Radha and Krishna sometimes, and this Prabhupada Saraswati is saying also these things.
Yeah, but
you do in your mind festival for Radha and Krishna.
yeah, that's what.
It's not for me.
Huh?
It's not for me. It's for some high devotees. So
You can try.
yeah, I will try.
That's okay, but you can try. But
The proper mood.
to be that's okay. But the thing will not have to be artificially attempted when you're an object of the mercy of Nam. When you're an object of the mercy of Nam, then Rupa, Guna, and Lila are revealed by Nam to you. And not only that, but Nam will reveal your Guru, Nam will reveal your own Sarup, Nam reveals everything.
So this means only here and crying.
When you will actually see the Sarup of Nam, simultaneously you will see your own Sarup. And when you will see the Guna of Nam, you'll also see your own characteristic qualities, in terms of the your specific delicious attributes to be relished by Krishna in the service of Radha. And you will by the revelation of Leela, which is generally it's described when that happens. That happens very high platform. First, Shravana Dasha.
Listen.
Smaran Dasa is quite later. Smaran Dasa comes after Nishta.
But so this means better to hurt and cry and pray, not pain to other things. Because
If
if
by
I'm
mercy
doing
of
my
Krishna
mantra
you're
become
thinking of
very-
any leelas of Krishna during the time when you're chanting is not wrong.
Because my mantra has become very intensive, and because my mind also becomes more concentrated.
And we should pray for that, for the mercy of Nam to reveal Himself, ourselves, just like when the sun rises. When we're actually chanting Shuddhanam. But you can easily chant Shuddhanam, more easily chant Shuddhanam, more easily and more quickly come to the position of chanting Shuddhanam if from the very beginning you will chant Nam, not with the motivation of dovetailing material desires, not with the motivation of eliminating material desires, but with the motivation of cultivating the spiritual desires of pleasing Krishna. Why am I chanting? I'm chanting because my Guru will be pleased with me. I'm chanting because all my Guru Parampara will be pleased with me. I'm chanting because Gaurnitai will be pleased with me. I'm chanting because when Krishna hears Radharani's name, he becomes happy. His heart is pacified. And when Radha hears Krishna's name, her heart is pacified. So for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna, I'm chanting. Not only that, but because Radha and Krishna are directly the name, and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a Yugal mantra wherein Radha and Krishna are enjoying their Yugal Milan. And to make arrangements, it is the duty of, or let's say, it is the prerogative of the Sakis and Manjaris to make the arrangement for the Yugal Milan of Radha and Krishna. So this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is directly facilitating the experience of Radha and Krishna's transcendental ecstasy in their Yugal Milan. In the form of the Nam Sarup. Nam is an enjoyer. Radha and Krishna are directly enjoying the experience. Nam is more conscious, is as conscious as Krishna is conscious. We're thinking that we're conscious of Nam, but actually Nam is conscious of us. When we invite Nam into our Nikunja, playground, when we decorate the bed of our heart for the Yugal Milan of Radha and Krishna within our heart, by let's say, facilitating their union in our endeavors to let's see, this Nam chanting of Hare Krishna is actually one of the Leelas of Radha and Krishna. In other words, we are inviting them into our Nikunja playground on the bed of our heart. Nam should be first chanted in the heart, then chanted on the lips, on the tongue. If Nam is not chanting in the heart, then you can rest assured that actual Nam is not dancing on your tongue. Krishna is not dancing on your tongue. But if Nam is chanting in the heart, if we are facilitating the Yugal Milan of Radha and Krishna within our heart, as Saki Manjari, then when Nam is coming in the air, that will be Shuddhanam, and Shuddhanam is directly Krishna and Radha, and directly they are enjoying the Anga Sangam in the form of the Shabda Brahman. Directly Nam is experiencing the bliss of their Anga Sangam in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we can say that, well, if I'm not chanting Nam, then what is Nam doing? It simply means that Nam has not come to our courtyard. He may, just like sometimes Krishna, in the course of his Leelas, Radha and Krishna may come and visit Shamla Saki, and sometimes she may come to visit Rupa Manjari's Kunj, and sometimes she may go and visit, they may go and visit Rati Manjari's Kunj. Sometimes they may go and let's say, experience the paramount bliss of their Anga Sangam in the Padma Mandir at Anangam Bhuja, Anangam Manjari's Kunj in the middle of Radha Kund. So if we are not chanting, then it means that Radha and Krishna are not coming to our Kunj to enjoy their pleasure pastimes. When Radha and Krishna will come to our Kunj to enjoy their pleasure pastimes, then with all attention we will in every way endeavor to serve and facilitate, their Yuga Mantra in the form of the Yuga Mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, we're giving pleasure to Nam. In this way, we're giving pleasure to Radha and Krishna. Nam is Krishna Tadiya, Radha Krishna Tadiya, which is non-different from Radha and Krishna. But in reality, Radha and Krishna are more pleased when we serve Nam than when we serve themselves, because Radha and Krishna love name better than they love themselves. The service of Nam is higher than the service of Radha and Krishna.
I have Gopal Guru Goswami's explanation of Krishna.
You can use.
So nice.
But Bhaktivinoda Thakur's is also there.
I have no.
Mine is also there. But I'm not going to do it.
I have no Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
You've read?
I have.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also?
Raghunath Das
Raghunath Das Goswami, yes.
Which book? Gitamala? Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
Yeah.
Well,
They are more in our line.
yeah. But Gopal Guru Goswami is.
It's okay also. So the main principle is to try to augment the pleasure of Nam. Nam should be pleased to dance on your tongue and lay down in the court, on the bed, flower bed of your heart. And then by culturing this pleasure-giving mood in your chanting, then Shuddhanam manifest very quickly. Even if you're in Maya all day long, but when you chant your japa,
It's hard.
you should chant with even if you do sinful activities. Somebody maybe an operati, maybe a sinful man, whatever. But when he picks up his japamala, or when he does kirtan, he knows that it is useless to attempt to become freed from the reactions to my offenses by chanting Nam. If I try to do that, then I'm a Nam operati. I'm committing this offense. It is not my business to. Let me suffer the reactions to all my offenses. Let me suffer the reactions to my sinful activities. But at least this much in my life,
A chance.
I should do something right. I should do something that Krishna will be able to say, that Yamaraj will be able to say, that he was sinful in so many things, but at least he did this one thing right. When he chanted, he tried to do it with the consideration that Krishna should at least be pleased with me for trying to do this much. This may be my last day in my life. I'm going to chant this 16 rounds as if it was the last day in my life. My last opportunity to cry out for Krishna's mercy and beg them to please allow me to be, engaged in their pleasure pastimes. And as I come to the last round, this may be my last round We've already discussed this point. But this is a very important point, very good point.
I hear this maybe fourth time.
From me?
Yeah.
Good. Repetition of a good thing is a good thing. This is an important thing.
Yeah, remember every time. Yeah, I will think also sometimes like that because I have so many diseases.
You don't know when you're going to die.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe tomorrow.
You can die anytime.
Maybe right now.
This is in the last round. I should be thinking that this last round is my last chance to cry out to Krishna in this lifetime and beg for his mercy. My last chance to do seva, to nam. My last chance to try to please nam, to try to please Radha and Krishna, to convince them that I really do want to, engage in their loving service. My dear Krishna, my dear Radha, please engage me in your loving service. Please, please, please. Just one last time. Let this last mantra, as you're getting to the end of the round, let this last mantra, at least let me chant this last mantra in such a way that you'll be convinced. And as you get to the last word, the last Hare, which is Radha, at the end of the mantra, that if Krishna doesn't listen to me, if Krishna doesn't show me mercy in all of these rounds and all of these mantras, then at least let this last one word, which is Radha, at least let Radharani, please, at least this one time, recognize me, accept me, and mercifully engage me in her service. This may be my last breath. We should chant the last word of our 16 rounds as if it was our last breath. And then we should chant another 16 rounds in the same move.
No, when I finish it my rounds, I always think about it. Why I'm stopping now? Why? Like.
You see, so like that. We should, this is it's a. In this way, gradually, we will get bhajanishta, namruchi, and the anarthas will quickly go, and then we will become more and more attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, to the point where we just can't live without Krishna and Krishna.
It's nice also before the chanting to read some, like Vrindavan Mahima Rita, some words.
That's okay, yes.
Some bhajans,
Sure, why not?
words.
But
I know some devotees 1 hour, to 1.5 hours, they, go down prayers, like all these Gopeshwar Male, all these things, and then they start to chant the rounds, like 64 or 32.
yeah, that's possible. More power to you. So I have stopped. I've not finished my shalagram season all this time. The offering is going to get cold. It's already getting.
Which was completed at 5:30.
Yeah, 5:30.
5:30. These Russians come 5:30.
They came at 4 or
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like,
Oh my God.
Another day in the life.
Oh my
I
God.
think Srila Prabhupada would just like preach
4
like, all
o'clock.
day, so preach all day for Krishna and take a little prashadam at night.
But Aindra Prabhu, you see, I didn't come when you're making your because you have this list of don't knock, and I was okay. There's some faces also.
I'm going to put that back up there because to be real, today I was supposed to finish my master today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on doing any of these things today.
But you see, you didn't saw my face maybe 2 months. I'm waiting. And I always ask from Mahabhagavat, and the Prabhu finishes.
Is that tape recorder there? No, right here, down by the tree.
Someday.
Is there an empty machine?
Oh, it's up here.
Okay then. All right. What about the plug?
Clocks.
No, not that one. Plug.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, and devotees told me you are now a little bit
But I'm not. You
Well,
know.
Yeah.
I have to.
I don't know about it.
I have to hurry and finish this cassette so that the
So, I didn't know about it. But I'm waiting also 2 months to take some darshan.
the principle though, the very, very important principle with regard to your dream, the principle is that take shelter of Nam. Because, and don't think that you can't take shelter of Nam, because in truth, you have heard Shuddhanam. You've not heard Shuddhanam, you've heard Premanam
From Prabhupada.
from Prabhupada's recordings. And if you embrace that, and by discussing, like such discussions that we're having, will help you to scientifically approach the chanting of Nam in such a way as to actually augment Shuddhanam, because Shuddhanam gives you prema.
Yeah.
Shuddhanam is only that Nam which is concerned with Krishna's pleasure. That chanting which is totally concerned with Krishna's pleasure. Of course, to really chant Shuddhanam, your whole life should be dedicated to the pleasure of Krishna. But even if the whole life is not dedicated to the pleasure of Krishna because you're nonsense still, you know, even you have anarthas within the heart and all that, you haven't done your anartha and vritti, but you should practice the principle of chanting for Krishna's pleasure. You should practice the principle of trying to serve Krishna for his pleasure. Just like someone may not be free from anarthas, but he's cooking for Krishna, but he should not be thinking that, boy, this is going to be good when I finish offering it, then I'm going to gorge myself and pig down the Mahaprasad. You know? But he should be practicing, from the very beginning of his training, he should be practicing that let me cook this nicely because so Krishna will enjoy.
I'm reading Boga Arti, you know, this Boga Bhakti.
Yes.
Yeah, I keep in mind this Boga Arti song.
Yeah.
And when I'm cooking, it's very nice. Helpful.
Yeah.
To,
Then you can think that Krishna will enjoy this. That this will be pleasurable for Krishna. You know. So we cook nicely for Krishna's pleasure. You understand?
Yeah.
So that can be done even when you're not free from anarthas.
Yeah, it's possible.
You try to. In other words, if you never try to do it, then how are you ever going to come to the position of actually doing it? So you have to try. So similarly, just like when you're chanting, you can try to remember pastimes of Krishna, but you should not try to remember pastimes of Krishna so that you can feel gratified that I'm big bhajana and remembering pastimes of Krishna.
Yeah.
Then this is not for the pleasure of Krishna, and you'll never get Shuddhanam, and you'll never get the real form of Krishna's pastimes. You should not try to remember the pastimes of Krishna because you enjoy thinking of the pastimes of Krishna. This is also wrong.
Yeah.
Krishna's pastimes are not for our enjoyment, but rather Krishna enjoys our remembering his pastimes. Krishna is the subject. We are the object. We're the object of his enjoyment. He's the bhokta. We're the bhoga. You see. So, someone is crying for Krishna because, he's begging Krishna to give him the house, car, and color TV. That's not crying for Krishna. That's crying for his sense gratification. He's crying to Krishna for his sense gratification. And similarly, someone is crying to Krishna that, oh Krishna, please come to me so that I can see your beautiful form because I enjoy seeing your beautiful form.
And dance.
And dance for me. Krishna, dance. Come on. Krishna comes on my stage and dances according to my tune. No, but we're supposed to go on Krishna's stage and dance according to his tune. And we're dancing for his pleasure. And when he dances, That is to inspire us to dance more for His pleasure.
Now I understand where you're taking from these tunes in your tapes. That's Krishna giving you. Yeah. Excuse me again. Take all your time.
I hope someday that I will be able to live up to my own words, because they're not my own words. These are not my own words. These words are supplied to me by the mercy of my Guru and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. But even they're supplied to me, but I'm fool and rascal and hypocrite number one.
No, it's not for me. It's not for my...
I know. I know what kind of hypocrite and rascal and fool I am. And I'm in my better moments, I'm praying for the day that I'll be able to actually live up to the truth of these words, to do justice to these words. But you know, if you will know something, and if it sounds reasonable and sensible, then you should be able to take good advice from a fool.
No, it's not the truth.
A sign, Chanakya Pandit says that one of the signs of a knowledgeable man is that he can accept good advice from a fool. He can accept gold from a filthy place. So
I'm a fool.
If you will check with Guru, Shastra and Sadhu to understand the validity of these names, to understand these words, to understand the worth. In other words, if you can understand what is gold, and you can recognize that there's any gold manifesting in the words that I'm speaking, then you can know for sure that it's coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and my Guru. The inspiration for speaking these things are coming from them. It has nothing to do with the vile tongue, you know, in this decrepit body.
It's coming from heart.
But this vile tongue cannot speak such words, because this is the tongue of a hypocrite. And a fool and rascal, a fallen soul.
It's not for me.
Well, it is for me.
Actually, I'm a fool and I'm come to know something about bhajana. You know, I have my own room. I'm staying alone. You know, with my mind.
Shravana dasha. More and more and more hearing. The more you hear the subject matter to be appreciated, the more you will appreciate the subject matter to be appreciated. If you don't hear sufficiently, then we cannot get attachment for the subject matter. Hearing and chanting causes the effect of smaranam. Smaranam is not such an easy thing. Without hearing and chanting, you can hardly hope to do Krishna Smaranam or Leela Smaranam. You have to hear and chant about the Leelas. If you cannot remember the Leelas to chant about them, then read them from the books.
Yeah.
The Goswamis were also reading the Shastras. They weren't just making up only from their own experiences, you know, but they were also relishing reading the Shastras, etc. So we are not able to, let's say, manifest leelas from our heart, because we're not seeing the uppercut leelas of Krishna. Excuse me, the aprakrita, the proper pronunciation, leelas of Krishna. You know, Goswamis were seeing, but we can see the prakrita leelas of Krishna. The Prakrit Leelas of Krishna were those Leelas which are manifest before the eyes of everyone. The Leelas of the in the Boma. Is there an ant? Doesn't matter. Throw them overboard. The Prakriti Leelas were the Leelas manifest in the Boma Leelas 5,000 years ago. But by the grace of our acharyas, they've made the aprakrita Leelas prakrita in the pages of their books.
Yeah.
We cannot see the aprakrita Leelas because we have not yet the transcendental eyes to see. That will take some considerable purification and considerable, degree of perfection.
What do you think about Sri Gaur? What he's saying there?
Who?
Sri Gaur.
I don't know what Sri Gaur is saying. And I don't care what Sri Gaur is saying.
No, I'm just asking.
I know that Sri Gaur has a tendency to be totally on the mental platform.
I think time shows everything. Time is show everything.
But we may not see it.
Yeah.
What is the result?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing now.
He's in Radhakund.
Huh?
He's in Radhakund.
He lives at Radhakund?
Yeah.
I advised him against that. Because actually Radhakund is for siddhis. I don't want to say any more about Sri Gaur because it's not of much value. Dr. Richard was living at Radhakund. Prabhupada said he was living in Radhakund. Just because you're physically living at Radhakund doesn't mean you're living at Radhakund.
Yeah, for me, better to paint
Some adhikar should be there before you go to live at Radhakund. He's not even initiated. He's quite neophyte and quite speculative.
I mean, because he's saying so Radharani open for him, for himself. But please, in this circle only, you tell me, the Radharani open for himself, like who is he, and Lila, and these things he's saying. Because I don't want to offend him also, he's a standing endowment, but I little, confused to listen.
He is very confused.
Because, I think it's more like, yeah, it's spontaneous things, but we should some follow.
He wants to glorify himself. That's why he is going around saying these things. It's a kind of false pride.
Because I heard that if something open to devotees, they keep him open to.
They may open to in special cases.
Yeah.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur certainly opened his eternal Starbhak to anyone and everyone who reads his books. So you can't say they don't open, they do open. But you will not see any fault in his conceptions. But when someone is coming to me and telling me that Radharani revealed to him his Sarup, and he's telling that from his Sarup many other jivas were expanding. That that he saw who he was, and who he was the source of all Jesus. All nonsense, nonsense, total nonsense. I don't want to hear anything that Srigor has to say. Let him go to hell, or wherever he goes, because he has no interest in accepting any authority. He's not capable of recognizing any good advice. He only accepts what advice appeals to him, what gratifies him. If his guru will tell him not to live at Radhakund, but he wants to live at Radhakund, he will reject his guru and live at Radhakund.
When Rupa Goswami says, I won't reject hundreds of gurus, they just told me to live with them.
No, that's Prabodhananda Saraswati.
It's probably nonsense.
To leave Vrindavan, we're not telling him to leave Vrindavan.
Because my Guru Maharaj, he said,
We're telling him to increase his adhikar.
because I don't want to live also, but I understand maybe after a few years my Guru Maharaj won't be back, but I don't want to go back. This is prema dharma, I saw the people who's coming now from Russia, it's too difficult for them, It's here so many facilities to remember about Krishna. Third, Kirtan. That's so. This means I make offense again. Yeah, it's not good.
No.
I have to go. Yeah.
Certain things you can, to get married and to leave Vrindavan. Those two instructions you can do. It's midnight, I just realized. So we better stop.
Yeah.
I'm a blabbermouth, so I just carry on and on and on, in spite of the fact that it's breaking down my voice. So I hope they
Thank you,
forgive me.
Aindra Prabhu.
Right. I hope it was of some use. If the discussion helps you to
Yeah, it helps.
to go forward in pure devotional service, then I consider that it may have been instrumental in fulfilling the desires of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, it's helped me
But
because
otherwise,
I don't want to hurt my mind.
it's only so much babbling of a brook,
Yeah.
and spending so much time. They're hungry. They're sitting here waiting. The prasadam's in the pot, and they haven't had anything to eat all day long. At least I gave them a little sweet.
Can I help you some service now to wash some pots?
No, it's okay.
I can do.
No, I just have to finish the bathing.
If you need something, tell me. I'll help you. Hare Krishna.